Hello. Welcome back to Movie Night here on the Anorex Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Samee Ramirez, and today we are going to be talking about F9, the Fast Saga. I did it, everybody. I watched all but 3 Fast and Furious films this past week in preparation. I've seen it and ready to talk about it. I'll say that. And I'm joined, as always, with my guest, Dom Martino. Dom, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on? I'm pretty tired tonight, everybody. But you know, I'm here to talk about this movie. I did a non-spoiler on this earlier. I want to apologize in advance for the way that went down. That non-spoiler review probably wasn't my best work, but again, I'm very exhausted tonight, but I'm going to try to get through this anyway. So yeah, let's go. Let's get into it.
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of don't know where to begin with this. It's directed by Justin Lin, who directed 4, 5, and 6 as well. And I mean, I guess I'll start with this. So my number one problem with the Fast and Furious franchise is that it is so overtly to do nothing else. Its purpose is to do nothing else but satisfy the male gaze. And every woman is objectified. Everything is just overly sexual. It's all stereotypes. I hate it. But you know what? I will say, I saw this movie with my mom and I told her as well that I was like, this one was probably the least overt about it. And that's not for nothing. I do think this one was the least objectifying of women. This one understands that women are people too, I think, more than any other, which I will respect because I am a big critic of that part of the franchise. And this was the least offended, I guess, I felt while watching it. So I mean, that was a big plus for me. I guess I'll say I didn't hate it. It was kind of on par with, I guess, like Fast 8 and, you know, kind of 6 and 4 for me, where they were like, they're cool. It was all right. Nothing really special. I do have to say 7 was definitely my favorite, and then followed by 5, which those I think are like really great action movies. And then the other ones are like, they're all right. They exist. I'm not mad. They're not perfect. They're entertaining. Yeah. And, you know, that's what I said. I'm like, they're entertaining. It's the true sense of the word entertaining. And that's, you know, what I have to say about that. Yeah, what are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I just want to honestly give you all the credit in the world for binging these as quickly as you did, and so really good on you for doing that.
I did not watch Too Fast, Too Furious. I did not watch Tokyo Drift or Hobbs and Shaw.
But you watched the necessary things to enjoy this one, and I'll go through my history on the Fast and the Furious first, and that's pretty much that. I like the first movie. I have a lot of nostalgia for the first movie. So it holds up to me in that regard at the very least. Too Fast, Too Furious, I absolutely do not like. I think it's dated. I might have liked it a little bit more when I was younger, but it's very dated. Doesn't really work for me anymore. Tokyo Drift is not as bad as people say. I still enjoy that movie when I put it on. There's some good elements about it. It's enjoyable. It's worth watching, and it definitely has some connections to this film in particular, for sure.
Sorry to interrupt, but I mean, it's the full spoiler, by the way, spoiler alert for the whole movie. But it did not click for me that the one guy he's the lead in Tokyo Drift, the one of the trio, you know what I mean?
Right,
the new trio that come in.
Snowball,
they're from
and Ding
Tokyo
Dong.
Drift,
Snowball
right?
and Ding Dong, as they call them. Those are the 2 in Tokyo Drift.
I expect nothing less.
Yes, exactly.
From the franchise.
Exactly. And I'm a massive...
Because I recognized him once Han came back, which, by the way, was not expecting that, I have to say.
Yeah.
But it was fine with it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until they met up again that I was like, oh wait, I've seen this man's face before.
Yeah, he's the lead in Tokyo Drift. So
right.
Nice little touch there, I guess. But anyway, so 4 I think is better, though. It's the improvement. It's by the end of 4, it's okay, it's just beginning now. This is where Justin Lin took over in 4, and then 5 is still my favorite to me. It's still the best one.
My second favorite.
7 is my second favorite personally. 6 I still think is really awesome, though. I think it's it
was all right.
5, 6, and 7 are the best 3 in my opinion, for sure.
Yeah.
And then you go into 8, and it's I still really found it enjoyable for the most part. It's not a bad movie by any means. So, you know, I've just been a really massive fan of the franchise, and I think they've been consistent at least since 5 in terms of their you know, coolness level, I guess. As over the top as they've become and everything like that, it's like I expect that. I expect a little bit of ridiculousness and a lot of over the topness in these movies. But so I went to the drive-in last night to see this one, and I've seen multiple of these in the drive-in, so it's always great to go back and watch another one. And there's a lot of the reason I went back to the drive-in. They're fun to watch in the drive-in for sure, and I was happy to be there to see this one again. But this movie absolutely stinks. I did not like this movie. I have so many problems with this movie. Like, even in a Fast and Furious type universe where you critique them a certain way, this movie has so many problems. And there's a point to me where... Okay, like, I love the over-the-topness of Fast and the Furious, but there is a line, and I want to thank this movie for finding the line. It really, because so that way we can,
I know what you mean,
retract quite a bit. I mean, we'll get into it in full depth, but in all reality, there's some things that sounded great on paper that when you see it, you're just like, no, not for me. You probably know what I'm talking about. I really did not like this movie. I probably in my non-spoiler came off a little bit more angry about it than I actually am, but I just feel like I'm not necessarily angry about this movie. I just, there are so many things in here that I'm just like, why? You know what I mean? But it's kind of a toss-up because there are moments of action in this movie that are absolutely fucking fun, and I loved watching them. And so, like, it's not so much that I hate this movie. I probably came off that way in my non-spoiler review, but let me preface that by saying I know it wasn't my best work of a non-spoiler review. I was very angry and very tired, but not because of this movie. I'm just in that mood today in general. So, but honestly, like, here, when we're getting into the spoiler stuff and I'm talking to you about it and I'm in a much better mood now, I don't hate this movie. It's not a piece of shit. It's just not great. I think that it stinks. I'll probably watch it again in the lineup in the marathon because there are fun moments and there are, like, some aspects of it I definitely did enjoy. But I can't wait to get into it because I've been kind of holding this in, like, since I've seen the movie, and I haven't really been able to talk to anybody about it who's also seen it. So let's go. Let's do it. Let's get
I just have to say real quick. I mean, I see what you mean, but I'm like, for me, I don't think it was any more or less as crazy as any of the other ones have been. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it is over the top, but I didn't find it to be any more than it had been. Like, yes, they go to space, spoiler alert, but, like, I was like, but it was, you know, it wasn't like they didn't go wacko crazy with it. Again, it was still within the line.
Trust me, I have other problems too outside of space and how over the top it goes. It's just there's more to this. So we'll get into it.
Let me say real quick, by the way, my mother will testify to me. She was sitting next to me in the theater, and when, oh my God, what's her name? Ludacris and the other guy, Ronan,
right? Roman and Taj,
Roman and Taj are in the thing, and they put the suits on, and I started laughing, and I turned to her, and I said, "They look like minions."
Oh, and then they do the joke at the end. I did like that joke. I did like the joke.
You know what? That honestly felt a little satisfying to, like, it be like, okay, Fast and Furious, like.
Yeah.
How many movies did I watch? 8. You won me. Yeah. I now have a point.
I just think that them running from an iceberg is where I draw the line. You know what I mean? In Fast 8, or Fate and the Furious.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll still go back to the theater and watch Fasten Your Seatbelts, but, you know, for the most part, I don't know if, I don't know. They got to retract, I feel like, a little bit with the over the top level, but we'll get into that. Don't worry.
All right. I think we should just get straight into it. So I'm just gonna raw dog it from my brain right here. So we start in the flashback, right?
Oh God.
With, oh my God. First of all, let me tell you, I also turned to my mom and I was like, that is a Mexican man.
Yes.
Playing Vin Diesel right now.
Yes, there's one thing.
I was like, is anybody else seeing this?
Yeah. There's problem number one.
Problem number one. Also, on the drive home, we were talking about, and we were like, what is Vin Diesel's ethnicity? And I said the words. I was like, it's very ambiguous. He's just ambiguously ethnic. And I look it up on Wikipedia, and what does it say? It says Vin Diesel classifies himself as ambiguously ethnic.
Lord.
So again, I get a point on I'm smarter than you, Vin Diesel, is what I'm saying. I can predict your moves.
He's Italian.
So I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Dominic Toretto's Italian though, right?
Dominic.
That man was not Italian. Like literally, Mia, like these people's names, they're Italian people. And I literally like I just said to her, I was like, that's a Hispanic man playing Vin Diesel right now.
Yeah.
But I mean that scene though, I didn't mind.
Oh, I hated it.
It was all right. Go on, go off.
I'll be honest. Okay.
Go off.
So, okay.
I'll respond to you going
like
off.
you said, that's a Mexican man. So let's pretend like I accepted that and was able to just move on from it, which I actually was not. But let's pretend like I was.
Yeah.
This
is from the bat too. Wow. This is the first 3 minutes of the movie.
I know. And on top of that, you have this whole thing. Okay, so remember the first movie, he tells the story about his father. This man rams into him into the wall, and then like he blows up, and then he goes and he beats the shit out of this man. Okay. First of all, you got
it's
young
been a long
Dom.
week, not particularly, but yes.
Okay, so you got young Dom and young John Cena, and I'm sitting there like, that's not young Dom. I've seen young Dom. There's no way. It's like trying to tell me James McAvoy becomes Ian McKellen in 5 years or whatever in Dark Phoenix. It's the same thing, and it bothered the shit out of me. Now let's pretend that I accepted that and moved on, which I didn't, but let's pretend like I did. So you're telling me Vin Diesel, Dom Toretto, you're telling me that you beat up the guy who ran into your father, but you also, on top of that, the man who is all about family, looks at his actual family and just assumes that he killed the father because, he was the last one working on the car. You expect me to buy that?
He overhears one conversation and draws the conclusion that must have been what happened.
This whole thing. Okay, I'm sorry. I know it's a Fast and the Furious movie. I know people are going to give me shit, but this whole thing is a stupid excuse to put John Cena in this movie. This whole thing. It's a dumb excuse because you need John Cena in this for whatever reason. And I, by the way, don't mind John Cena in the movie. I don't think he does too bad. It's not him. It's the fact that they had to have him in there. It's just like in this lazy ass excuse for why he's in the movie that made absolutely no sense and is completely inconsistent to everything that was said about this father story in the first movie. It's just, you got to keep consistency. You can't just retcon, I'm going to have a problem with that. Like the movies have always been cohesive, and like all of a sudden they just don't feel that way right here in the first maybe 3 to 5 minutes of the movie. You just got rid of the cohesiveness. But I digress. Go on, Sammy. That's my problem.
Oh no, I mean, I don't have much more problems other than what you said. I mean, I get what you mean 100%. That it was totally just a way to what else are we gonna do? Like somebody was like, you know what, if he had a secret brother and it was John Cena, and then they played the music and it was no one ever wanted to change it, so here we are. Everything works around that 100%. It is true. It's right. If you are going to say that this is a franchise, if you're not because a lot of people are like, yes, it's accessorized in fast cars and all this cool stuff, but it's really about family at the end of the day. And I'm like, you're gonna tell me that it's about family at the end of the day, and then tell me that one of his foundational moments was betraying his brother because he overheard a conversation.
I still want the characters to be the characters, and you would think that if you had this incident early on in life, and again, there's many things I can't accept about this outside of that, but it's just like, if I accept that this is young Dom Toretto and he has this whole incident with his brother early on in life, it bothers me because then you wouldn't trust people to the point where you just want everybody to be family.
Right.
So it's a big
There it is.
inconsistency
Yeah.
with this character immediately. And as ridiculous as these movies are, again, I still want these characters to be the same characters. It's part of what makes the movies fun to me, is the fact that these characters are great to watch. And you can make fun of the fact that Dom's this big tough guy who's all about family, and that's part of the fun of it to me. But on the same hand, like, if you're gonna do that, just stay consistent with it. Don't just try to make him more like badass. Oh yeah, I got my brother locked up because I thought he killed my father, and it just shut the fuck up. Like this is so inconsistent. I don't know. By the way, this is like, I still think Too Fast, Too Furious is the worst one. This is not as bad as that one, but it's like it's close. It's filmed better and everything, and technically on the technical side it's all better, but as far as like the plot elements are really what bothers me about this movie. But anyway, let's continue. Let's get to the good stuff, because there's some good stuff actually after this.
So after this, I believe we then cut to Dom and Letty, and oh my god, I love they call him Little B.
Loved it.
I thought that was so cute. Love that. And I really like, because they have him hide in the thing, and that's kind of, what makes Letty kind of realize the situation they've found themselves in. And I kind of like that scene, all of the leading up, him and his son, and then when the family arrives again.
Oh yeah.
And
that's fine.
They pull guns on him, and it was great.
Yeah. That made me laugh. It's like, you just pull guns out to everybody that comes up to your drive.
They're Amazon delivery people, and like they're mailman.
I'm actually to the credit of this movie, I'm glad that they played into the humor of that. You know what I mean? Instead of like, because it is funny, the fact that they do that with everybody who just comes down the driveway now. It's just, I was happy that they played into that rather than just like, make it a
which
thing,
to spin off from that, this is skipping ahead a lot, but I one thing I did really like was the kind of metaphor throughout of, you're not invincible, you know what I mean? That was kind of lightly thrown in throughout the story in small places, so that way when it built at the end, it it meant something, and it was kind of, I think, cleverly placed. It meant different things for different characters.
I have minor problems. I can appreciate that too, though, and I'll get into that a little bit later when we get there. But I do have some minor problems. Like overall, like I think it's a good theme to have. I just have some minor problems with the way they played it. But anyway, we'll move into that later. But by the way, though, like, this is my favorite stuff. Some of my favorite stuff was Dom, Letty, and the kid. I thought that's where the heart of the movie came into, and I really liked watching it. Samee Ramirez, by the way, still looking great. She looks really good in this movie, and I mean, don't get me wrong, like, she's starting to look a little more motherly, but like for the most part, like she still looks good,
Motherly?
Sure. Like she's got like the motherly hairdo now, and like, so there's aspects of her that but she doesn't look like old. She still looks like young, and but motherly.
Motherly. Let me see. What happens after this?
Like Roman comes up, and then they have the
right, yes,
which is great, and I like that scene, and I thought it was good, and then we have this whole plot that, like, honestly didn't really make me mad, like with the Mr. Nobody and all that, like,
yes,
and like they had to bring Cypher back. She's all about world domination. It's like, okay, I get it, it's fine, it's a Fast and Furious plot. I was okay with that for the most part. I have problems with it later, but we'll get into it. But for the most part, I was like, okay, all right, Fast and Furious plot, I get it. And then we get the great action scene after that. So
then they go to the thing. I know what I mean, but I will say, one thing, just a very small thing that bothered me, that just feel like would bother only me, so Charlize there, so Cypher is kept in like this box thing, and you're meant to tell me that she lives in this box all the time and has been for God knows how long.
That's one of my problems too.
She is bathed, she is cleanly, she has a full face of makeup on always, she has a fresh haircut that needs to be maintained, she's in fresh clothes. I was like, I know it's a movie, but like, I don't know, it kind of, she needed to look like Harley Quinn at the beginning of Suicide Squad, you know what I mean? That is like more what I wanted, like to look like you've been in captivity for a minute.
No,
I'm
Sammy,
like,
you're not the only one that questioned that. Don't feel bad.
Cool.
You're not the only one that questioned that. I also had problems there, but go ahead.
Good. No, that just was like a small thing that bothered me. I was like, she is really in a full face of makeup and freshly showered. And she's been in this box for how long? Who knows? And that haircut, you realize how much money it takes to maintain a haircut like that in time? That's not just like a prisoner for a while has that haircut. That is a maintained haircut.
Yeah.
All right. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
But I mean, so then after we get to the big first like act 1 action scene, which I'm like trying to remember it, and I don't have that many criticisms.
Oh, I do.
Critiques of it.
I do.
So you can you can go off.
Okay,
I'll just say like just real. I just like again like I was like this is like a regular Fast and the Furious action scene. I was shoveling popcorn down my face. I was having a great time. I was vibing. I
think it's one of the
all I have to say about it.
Might be the strongest part in the whole movie, to be honest with you, like because it is a really, really great action sequence in all honesty, and I had a lot of fun watching it. But okay,
go off.
This more ties into later on in the movie a little bit more my problems with this, but okay, so Michelle Rodriguez goes flying like 60 feet into the air, and then Vin Diesel whips around the car and like she lands on it. We've seen this done before in these movies. This is nothing new, don't get me wrong. But in this movie, they pull out this ability like every 5 minutes. They can do this now. I like to call it car catching. I just gave it a name.
There's a lot of that.
And
and I know exactly what you mean by that. Like, there's so much.
You have to like this movie asks but here's one of my biggest problems with the movie. This movie asks its audience to accept so much, and it seems like it's just all the time. The other movies, I feel like when they did these unrealistic things, they were kind of tethered to something that had to do with the real world, and like here it's like there's no sense of reality anymore. They've lost it. It's gone. It's out the window now. Okay, while the bridge jumping scene was entirely unrealistic, I was
like, can I get a physicist, anybody to explain why that wouldn't work? Right. Because I just feel like there's a physicist out there who wants to go off at just like because I know nothing about science, and I was like, that's not impossible.
It doesn't happen like that, but. And that's fine, but and that's one of those things that I'm like, okay, that's a little bit more tethered to reality. To me, like when they do the unrealistic things, I like it to be because there's no other alternative to that in the moment, and that's like okay, you know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, he attaches his tire to the rope, which is whatever. I accepted that. That's a Fast and the Furious move. And then like he goes over. I was at least happy for 2 reasons about this, because one, I mean. Well, the big reason is, I mean, none of it went down like it did in the trailer. So I was happy they made it a little bit more tethered to reality. But number one, because the car ended up rolling at the end, and I'm like, at least you got that. There's consequence to the, thing. And then, like, when they're done, it wasn't just Michelle Rodriguez going, she actually said, well, that was new, So I was, like, at least happy that there was, like, some reaction to the fact that they actually just survived that. So... this scene, for the most part, I enjoyed. Now, here's the other thing. He had Roman, where the thing... I thought this was hilarious. Don't get me wrong. I think Ludacris and Roman are one of the best parts of the movie. But when the thing comes slamming down and they, like, don't explain how Roman survived that. Like, I'm assuming he was just on the other side of it.
Yes.
But then he just comes walking out, and there's no explanation, which on one end, I thought it was funny because Ludacris was like, how the hell are you still... Like, I thought that was funny. But I guess on that one, I just have to accept he was on the other end of it or something. But, like, if that thing actually did slam down on him, then I'm fucking out. Because, come on.
Yeah.
Like, no way. No way he just got out from under it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no way.
He going to the ground?
Yeah. I do have to say, I didn't particularly like that, just mainly, though, because it was such, like, a dumb fake out. I was like, he really died, I'm sure. It's the same, like, when Dom gets a fake out death at the end. I'm like, my mom also literally turned to me and she was like, yeah, I'm sure he's dead.
You know,
like she literally did that because like it's just so clear that they're gonna be fine. Why are you trying to fake me out?
I'm glad you brought that up in general because, and I gotta air this out because I think that's part of the reason it's really starting to grow stale by the time I get to this movie is the fact that there's no stakes anymore because nobody's dying. It's people are just being brought back from the dead, if anything. So it's like there's no reason to like really get attached, or there's no stakes. Like what am I worried about? The suspense is just completely gone at this point, and it's like I don't know. Like I guess I've just grown a little bit more numb to the fact maybe that, you know, they're just like all gonna survive now, and it's it's getting old, you know. I don't know, like, and I'll tell you another thing later, but let's move on.
Okay.
I'll tell you
what comes after this so then Mia comes back after this, I believe, right? Because they have some more there's some more flashbacks. I think there's more flashbacks actually.
I'll tell you why this made me laugh, because they get into like Mr. Nobody's warehouse, and then he's like, I think it was Tyrese is like, oh well, this looks like somewhere where Mr. Nobody would be. Like, it was this high tech thing. It looks like every other hideout that they've ever been in any of these movies, and it just cracked me up that they were like blown away by it. Like, it looks like every other freaking thing that they've had in these movies. It's just, what the hell? That made me laugh.
True. No, 100% true. So I think. But there's Mia more flashbacks, right? Mia comes back.
Oh, the flashbacks is another problem I have in general. We could have hacked so much of those flashbacks just to like save some runtime, because this movie was way over long. That was the other part of it that bothered me. Is like, I'm sitting at the drive-in last night, like, okay, I'm trying to get out of here by midnight. You know? And they kept showing these flashbacks that did nothing for me, because I was already over the whole thing anyway. So anyway, go ahead.
100%. Yeah. No, I agree that I don't have much more to add though, but I agree. So Mia comes back. Liked that. Because I agree. I would have felt her lack if she wasn't in it. You know what I mean? I'd be like, there's another sibling that we're forgetting about. Yeah. So I like that she was there. She didn't do much, you know, but I still like that she was there.
Well, I wish she would have done more, but like, you get that like really nice action scene with her and Letty, and I thought that was one of the best parts in the movie too.
This movie also. Great. I really don't know if any of the other ones do. I feel like I would have noticed it, but this movie passes the Bechdel test, and it like took me aback when Letty and Mia are in Tokyo and they have that conversation. For a long time they're talking about Dom, and I was like, please stop so this can pass the Bechdel test, please. And eventually they do. And it was great, and I loved it. So Fast 9 passes the Bechdel test. Only one scene, but it's there.
One of the better scenes.
I agree. One of the better scenes. I agree. I
wanted more of a Letty and Mia though, too. You know, because I think they should have given them more to do, honestly, because they were strong together in the movie. Oh my gosh. I like their little side. And
again, like I said, the whole thing about like the overall theme of the movie of like, we are not invincible. Their kind of version of that is really interesting when you mix them together. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, why can't we have more conversations with them?
There's another small critique in the warehouse scene too that I want to nitpick here, because it really pissed me off. And this happened a couple different times in the movie to this poor gentleman, but we need to address it. Okay, so Roman comes up and he has this whole thing about invincibility. And then, you know, Ludacris does that thing. Maybe you're just a dumbass. And I'm sitting there like, well, hold on a minute.
I agree.
I think that somebody needs to bring this up. I would like to talk about this.
And
then they just like wrote it off, and it's like, why are you just writing this off? He's got a point, you know.
I agree, and I will say, like, I do think that it is kind of spread out throughout the movie, so I can't fault it that much because it is brought up time and time again. Yeah. But like, why would you do that? Why would you like bring up the main core theme of your movie and then just be like, hey, don't worry about it, guys? That's the core theme of your movie.
Yeah, it just pissed me off, and they did it again later, which I'll talk about when we get to that. But
but no, I noticed that too. So let me see what's after this. We come back to.
I think it's Letty and Mia's.
Mia, they go to Tokyo, right?
Well, it's kind of intercut with the Ding Dong and Snowball too.
Right. They go there, they try the rockets, and they're all blowing up.
Okay, so I have another thing about this, like, too, with Ding Dong and Snowball, if we're going to call them that. I can't remember their real names off the top of my head for some reason. But anyway, Brian, no, not Brian. It's, I don't know. Forget it. Sean is the main kid. Snowball is Sean.
The white kid, all right.
Right, but, so they... First of all, I have some nitpicks here, but it's, I guess, fine, too, in a way, because I was entertained, I guess, but... So, they're, like, buffoons now, and if you've seen Tokyo Drift, that's, like, so out of character for them, but this movie decided to make them, like, complete buffoons, and it was funny.
Yes,
I won't lie to you, it was funny, but... It's also, like, contrasted with the fact that they could build a rocket on top of the car. And it's like, why are they, like, geniuses, but they're also buffoons? It just really made no sense. So, another small nitpick I got there.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But a fair one.
Go ahead.
So I see. So after this, right, we go, and then they find that Han is still alive, and what's her name? Elle, right? I want to say.
Oh, yeah.
Was the girl's name?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, again, here's just the thing about the Fast and the Furious also that I have a quarrel with. Why do they feel the need to keep killing these women, and then they just bring another woman in to replace her? Like, literally, Letty dies. Who comes in? Giselle. Letty comes back. Giselle is out. Who comes in? Elena. Letty comes. Elena and Giselle are in. Elena comes out. And then Giselle comes out. And then we have to add Ramsey in, and then add an L in. Like, I would not be surprised, like, if Ramsey dies in the next one.
Right.
It wouldn't shock me at this point.
Because
I'm like, they keep killing their women.
I agree with you. And I'm not a big fan of this new girl either anyway. But, like, in her particular case, at the very least, they had no control over the fact that Gal Gadot got Wonder Woman. So, I mean, I'm just throwing that one out there. But
was that actually like I genuinely don't know. That was like, did she ask to be?
I'm sure once she got Wonder Woman, Sammy, she had no interest in doing another one of these. Sure. So I would imagine.
But still, they did it with Letty, and they did it with Elena. Wouldn't be surprised if they do it again.
Oh, sure. I get you. And it sucks, and it's like, and especially like when the new females tend to not be as strong as the initial one.
Oh my god! Honestly, I'm like, we had to lose Elena and Giselle to get Ramsey and Elle. Are you kidding me?
I guess I always assumed it was a coincidence of them just going to bigger, better things, I guess, or whatever. But I don't know.
Yeah, but it, like, story-wise though, because it is a trope in fiction, the death of a woman trope is a thing where you write a woman and then kill her because she is, like, if she survives, then it takes away from the other male characters. Yeah. But in order to make it, you know, still work, you just have her death. It's like Black Widow, honestly, like, kind of did this, where she dies, but it's because of a huge thing, and it inspires all the male characters to rise to their true occasion. Like, but why did she have to die? You know what I mean? Why you want to kill these women? That's the issue. But so I mean, they've done it before, and I agree, like, Ramsey's just not that interesting of a character to me. She's probably the most, like, honestly, the most, I don't even want to say feminist, but she's been the one to call men out on their bullshit the most, which I can respect. But again, the bar is so low that, like, 2 comments, I'm like, cool, we're good. Of the 100 times they made a sexist comment, they got called out twice. I'll take what I can get sometimes. Yeah. So I'll give her that. She's the one to do that.
I hate to shit on this movie because I really do respect the fact that it's the least misogynistic, you know, like...
It totally is,
I do respect that a lot, and I thought, like, a lot of, like, there is, like, moments of, like, real maturity in these characters, like, for sure.
100%.
And so I respect a lot of that, but... Unfortunately, a lot of it just doesn't get paid off, in my opinion, you know, in a really good way. Yeah. And that's where I have a problem, I feel like, is when you look at, like, okay, every time I really don't mind John Cena in this movie, by the way. Like, as far as his acting, I think it's fine. I don't really have a problem with it. I thought he was really good. I thought he fit in a Fast and Furious world. I thought he was good for that, but
he did. He played his role and did it well.
The character irritated me, and the reason of the character being there, but him himself, he held his own in a Fast and Furious without a doubt. But every time he would go, Dom, like, it's just the way he has to say it. It's like, come on, dude. That was the one annoyance with John Cena
Yeah.
as an actor. It's like, and by the way, I appreciate a Star Wars reference as much as the next guy, but this villain who's obsessed with Star Wars is an absolute jackass, and he was so annoying. And the fact that his favorite character is Luke Skywalker makes absolutely no fucking sense. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I was like, but you know, there are a lot of people like that who would be in that situation and be like, I'm the Luke, or be like, you know what, dude, I'm the Han in this situation. Be like, no, you are nothing, my man. You are nothing.
It would make sense.
You are not even the character of Yoda. You are the physical being of Yoda, the puppet. That is who you are.
Something like that makes sense for a character like Thanos or a villain like Killmonger, but when you give us a villain like this jackass who we don't really understand why he's a jackass in the first place, then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid. And I was annoyed with the amount of fucking Star Wars references he made. I really was. Wow. And I was genuinely like, I had a big problem with that scene. I was like, let's move on. This is going nowhere. It
went on
fast.
For a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. That scene went on for a while.
Like, at first I chuckled when he was like, a TIE fighter, you know, get a TIE fighter. Like, I chuckled a little bit. I was like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
when he was like, give me the Millennium, give me Chewbacca.
That would have been fine, but then he just went way overboard. And I'm like,
yeah, I agree.
I don't mind Star Wars references, but
know when to stop.
When
stop
I want
quit while you're ahead.
When this movie's already over long, let's move on, because there's no reason for this whole conversation. And sure, Charlize's line of your Yoda, you puppet up your head, it was whatever. But it's just, come on.
You could have done that so many different ways.
Yeah.
You know, why did it have to continue with being a Star Wars?
It gave me a headache. I was like, there was a lot of moments like that in this movie. I respect the hell out of Helen Mirren, by the way, but that scene could have been hacked right out of this movie too. She drove him to the party, and you hacked that movie out. You could have saved a lot of runtime.
Yeah.
She drove him to the party, and then like they had to make her a cool driver. And I get that she was like in Hobbs and Shaw or whatever, but like I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, because I mean, like, it's cool. We love seeing, you know, my older ladies driving cool cars. We love to see it, but why?
I didn't care.
You know what I mean?
That's another one of those like Meryl Streep scenes in Mary Poppins Returns. It's just like,
right. You're like, we love that you got a paycheck. We love that you worked today, but why are you here?
Yeah, she's there for the credit, you know, and it's like, you don't need her in the movie any other way. And Cardi B annoyed the hell out of me in this too. I don't know why she was in this.
I couldn't understand her. I'm in the minority of people. I watch most things with subtitles on because I just in general have a hard time like fully understanding words when they come out of people's mouths. So I watch a lot of things with subtitles, and I was like, Cardi B, I love you.
Yeah.
I love you.
This is the
first... I can't understand a word you are saying.
And by the way, this is the first time that any sort of misogyny in one of these actually irritated me as much as it did, because...
Really?
Well, when Vin Diesel's walking through that party, and then you got all the women in the white dress, and he's looking around checking them out, I'm like, come on, Dom. We're on a job. You're a grown man with a kid here. Now. Like, don't get me wrong.
You're a father now, Jordan. You're a father now.
It was just a play to make Dom look a lot cooler, and it's like, it doesn't actually make him look that much cooler. It just makes this movie take longer. So just move on.
I'm pretty sure the women in the white dresses were being human trafficked or being sex trafficked. Exactly. I was 99% sure, because there was a part where the blonde villain guy who thinks he's Luke Skywalker, I like don't even know his name.
Yeah.
But he like says at one point, he's like, yeah, Dom, if you want any of these girls, they're on my payroll. So just say the word. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean they're on your payroll, bro?
Yeah.
Are you sex trafficking these women? Are we just not going to talk about the fact that is happening right now on the screen?
All right.
I'm pretty sure that's what was going on. Because again, like... at like the street races and stuff, especially in this movie was the most like overt about this, that at the street races, it's the vibe of like the women and men are there just like they're just vibing. They love the race. They're here to watch it. We're just here to hang out. We want to be here. Yeah. But like, it's just a bunch of women in white dresses outside of a mansion, and there are no other men around.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I saw that in real life, I would call the police. I'd be like, there were women being sex trafficked. I was like, again, sometimes the writers, I just think, can't help themselves. They're like, we're gonna make the least misogynistic movie, however, we're just gonna drop sex trafficking in there and not talk about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I did not like that.
I guess the fight inside the mansion too was like one of my favorite.
That's right.
It was not a bad scene. I like that one. Yeah. That was like the one. I always like Vin Diesel when he gets heated. You know, in that moment he got heated, and you know, I showed you mercy. I love that. That was great.
Yeah,
that was one of the better parts. Yeah, I like when he gets heated. He's best when he gets heated. You know, he's best when he gets heated in these movies. Like the Busta line. It took me right back to that.
Yeah,
was the Busta.
He has moments.
I like him.
Every now and then he'll say a line real well, and I'm like, he just had a real good day that day.
He's one of the best parts in these movies because he really is like a veteran of them now. You know, like you could like he knows how to play the character Dom at this point so well. You can't deny it because he's done it so many times. And so I would question it if he was giving a bad performance at this point because he has done it that many times. And
honestly, for me,
character so well.
It's very much like a Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark situation where I'm like, where does the actor start and the character begin? Like, I don't know.
He's good at it. That's for sure.
Which is I feel like that's the what every actor strives to.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Not for nothing.
Yeah. That's one of the things that like I did enjoy watching this movie is just watching everybody know their roles so well and what to do.
Yeah.
Like that was really entertaining at this point. And I won't lie, like there were many moments where I would think back to the first movie and I'm like, I can't believe that they are so seasoned at this now. And like, cause I think back to the way they were in the first movie and it's like, they've just improved like immensely and they just know their characters so well. And I'm always proud to watch that. But this movie, I mean, again, I don't know. Was there anything else, I guess, before that you wanted to get into? I mean,
not really. So I'm just trying to think linearly.
Right. We kind of.
So we have I'm thinking like the mansion part.
That was good.
The mansion part with the sex traffickers, and then there's like Helen Mirren comes in. And
so we got to get to Han now because we kind of talked about Letty.
That was the act 2 fight, right? The one in the mansion. Because that's the thing. There's an act 1 fight, act 2 fight, and an act 3 fight in every Fast and Furious movie, pretty much.
I couldn't actually navigate the acts in this one though.
Yeah,
it was harder in this one.
There are always since like Fast 5, there's been like 3 big action scenes, and it's always. That's beginning, middle, and end.
I mean, I couldn't navigate like where the middle act began and ended because it was like so much movie at this point. Because I don't know. Like,
I know, like, what would I even consider like the turning point? Because like the inciting incident, you know,
I guess it would be the drowning moment with Vin Diesel, maybe. Which I got some problems with, by the way.
Sure, right, that's fair actually.
That's drowning part, maybe.
I think that's probably the climactic moment.
Yeah. Lordy.
That's fair. Yeah.
I have
so Act 2 is like somewhere in there, in that area of the movie.
So let's talk about Han, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, if
again, so Han is alive, and we have he rescued this girl Elle, and you know, also the whole thing of like, I mean, I thought it was fine, it was simple enough, but it's also like, but yet so basic and so just like the last movie we could control like all the phones in the world. Now we build that up and have the bigger satellite from space and we can control that. Like it just seemed like, you know, to like they just went, all right, what's the next level to that? But
I started to get some real problems here. That, you know, okay, so first of all, I liked seeing Han back. Like I actually like that character a lot. I think he's such a gentleman, and he's great to watch on screen. Cool, and the actor's really good at, you know, in the movies as well. He's charismatic and he's got this charm, and that's great. Once again though, Roman coming in hot with well, can you get to the part where, you exploded and survived? And then again, ludicrous. Will you shut up? I'm sitting there like, no, he has a good point. I would love to just get to that first. And the fact that he was the only one questioning that made no sense to me.
That's true.
And it's like, why is like the dumbest person on your team the one making the smartest comments this time around?
The one to bring up the big thing. He's the one to like bring it up first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he's right. Yeah. Like, you got a job to do. Get around to that part so we can move on and I can be out of the drive-in by midnight.
Also never honestly, yeah. And they never truly explain how. It's just like Mr. Nobody pulled a magic trick and I'm like, okay.
He goes all the way back to tell this whole long story, which had nothing to do with nothing. It was all stuff we already knew, and then you get into
it didn't matter. He could have just said, "Don't worry about it," and it would have been the same impact.
And then it's like, and then you get to the end of the story, and then they're still like, "Okay, well, that didn't explain anything." And then he's like, "Oh, well, yeah. I mean, Mr. Nobody had a way of making things look real. It was like a magic trick, And I'm like,
which also, okay, so
it was such a cop out.
So. Okay, so
don't try to make sense of it. I mean,
that was my brain like trying so hard and just cracking. So Han, okay. Mr. Nobody knew that Shaw was gonna kill Han to get to Dom. So he intervened and told Han that this was gonna happen and he'll be able to fake his death. And yet Han still wants to kill Shaw and hunt him down and make him pay and have revenge for that. He didn't actually kill you. You knew about this in advance, and you have I just don't. Why would you harbor revenge for that?
Again, I'm not going to sit here and try to make sense of it. There's no way to make sense of this. It was a cop out. It honestly was. It was a cop out and a waste of time. It was just a waste of time. This movie couldn't find a reason to bring Han back. They just knew that they wanted Han back, and they were like, "Well, we'll half-ass an explanation and give it to him."
That was also a reenactment of when I saw Tenet. Because me and my friend saw it and we just sat in the car afterwards and we were like, okay, wait. So if this was, then they knew about, it was a great time. It should have been on camera. It was genuinely hilarious. Yeah. Anyways, well, okay, so Han comes back. We learn about the whole, I don't know, the cube thing, or not cube, the ball thing that she can only connect. She's the key to it. And then they do it and plans in motion. We got to go to space, basically, right? Am I skipping anything important in between there?
Yeah,
before we get to like this
the drowning moment.
Right, that happens before.
It happens before
before that.
It happens before the action sequence.
Okay.
Anyway, I mean the big action.
I don't have much thoughts on.
Oh, I have thoughts.
I was like, I knew he wasn't gonna die.
Moment. First of all, gone. Oh, exactly. But here's the problem. So I actually really liked the way that was all put together. I thought it was actually a really beautiful moment. And in my mind, because of all this invincibility talk and all that they were doing throughout the movie, I was like, oh, shit. I know Dom's not going to die, don't get me wrong. I didn't think they were going there for 1 second, don't get me wrong. But what I thought they might do is that they might like make him finally go, I can't do this anymore.
Okay.
And that would have really paid off that whole thing of his life flashing before his eyes. So then he gets out of it when Letty saves him, which I also thought was awesome for her to dive down there and save him. Oh, and he gets out and he's just like, let's go. And then they just go on the mission. And it's like, why did you do this whole thing? It was actually really beautifully and well put together. Yeah. And they even had the scene where he's like looking at his son, little Brian. And it's like, why did you even waste your time and do it in the first place? Mm-hmm. That's my problem. It had nothing to do with anything. Honestly, it was like, why did you even just do it? It was so well put together. It was beautiful. I actually almost teared up because I thought like the thing with him and his son was so touching. And then like, she pulls him out, and I don't think it was as simple as that, but it was basically like, let's go, like, we're just going to do this, one last ride. It's like, yeah, right. You're full of shit.
Right.
You know, and it's just like, I thought that this would be, I thought that might be something cool to do with this character. It's like, I'm a father now, I gotta move on. I thought they were gonna go there. That was the one place I thought they might go. While they wouldn't kill him, they might at least do that, to where he's like, this really has to be the last ride, you know, or something along those lines. And it wasn't at all. It was just like,
I actually, hearing you say that, I'm like, it actually, I think, would have. The thing is, though, the Fast and Furious franchise is just not concerned with anything I'm about to say. But, like, how beautiful would it be for this whole time for them to be like, we are invincible, like, we will never die, I swear, and that'd be a whole thing. And then for their leader to die, and then but to still go have to like fulfill a mission afterwards, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
After their hero and their leader had died, that is thematically like chef's kiss.
Yeah.
But again, we are not concerned.
No, he won't do that.
Deep thematic undertones.
He will
That's
not
an
die.
Afterthought. That's like so further down the line.
Unless
that's like
it's
while
honestly
they're filming, they're like, oh, maybe we should
unless
think about what we're saying.
Honestly, the last scene of the last movie, I don't see it happening ever. Even then, I don't. Even then, 100%. I don't. It's just like, that's 100%. The only place I could see it happening, and even then,
I don't think he'll die. Yeah, I don't think it will end with him dying.
And even if they do try to do it in the last scene of the last movie, they'll do a time jump. Dom will be old, and he'll die of natural causes, and not so much like
Sure. Yes.
That's how they'll do it. But if they do it, but okay, so. The drowning thing, so like I said, it just went nowhere. But the other thing I wanted to mention that happened before this that I thought was really good, and this is something they continue to do very well in these movies, is keeping alive the memory of Paul Walker when Mia says, you know, our kids are in the best hands possible. You know, with Brian, that actually, I love that. That was great. They always do that very well with the Paul Walker thing. They pay tribute very well.
Yes.
And, you know, as much as I dislike this movie, I do...
Full fast forward, but the last shot of the movie before the post-credits.
Yeah. 100%.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But the one thing I would say, though, about this is... you know, I mean, I as much as I don't like this movie, I do like to think that Paul Walker's somewhere seeing this and going, oh my God, they actually made it to space. You know what I mean? And proud that they're actually taking those leaps. You know what I mean? And so, like, I do not like this movie, but hey, you know what I mean? There's something about that, you know, that I find to be, you know, kind of touching, and I like that. But anyway, we can move into the big action extravaganza.
All right, so let me see. So where is everybody at in this? So obviously Tej,
most of them are
Roman
on the ground. It's just Roman and Tej go to space with
their job is to and their job is to like kill the satellite, and then we have like Ramsey and I don't know who else trying to hack into the thing, and they're trying to get. There's a magnet situation that they keep using. It was, you know, it was fine, you know. I'm saying it like there was it hit all of the usual beats. It hit every beat that I would expect a final action scene to hit for me.
I'll tell you what's wrong with this action scene for me is,
go for it.
You have this side plot with the satellite. Now, okay, we knew they were going to space, so don't get me wrong, I didn't expect anything less of them. I mean, I knew they were going to space, but okay. First of all,
I want them to drive on the moon, though. Like, I don't think they understand what we meant when we said we want them to go to space. I want them driving on. I want them street racing on the moon with aliens. Yeah. That's what I meant. That's what I want.
Okay, so you got Ding Dong and Snowball driving them upward in this rocket. Yeah. Why wouldn't they have just taken the rocket up to space? Why did you have to launch the car? Did the rocket not make it? They never really explained that. It just...
Does the rocket launch the car?
The car launches from the rocket. They take the rocket only so far, and then the car launches from the rocket. Did you need a car to get up to space, or could you have used the rocket?
I think that might have just been for the aesthetic. Like they made it a car problem. For the aesthetic.
See, again, I like ridiculousness in these movies when there's no other alternative in the moment. Right. They definitely just did this.
They chose to be in a car.
And you know, listen, when they got up there, I said, "Oh no," because I saw that car floating through space, and that was major.
I laughed. I was like, "Look at these minions!
That was a major
And then the
cringe.
movie made that joke. Yep.
And I thought the candy thing was funny when the Crunch Bars rappers were up there. That was hilarious. Right. I laughed because the two characters have great chemistry and they're funny together. Mm-hmm. So I laughed at that, but I'm still cringing because they're literally just the car's just floating through space, and then they have that moment of,
how'd they get down? By the way, do they show it? I don't feel like they really.
I think the people came and saved them. Honestly, I think the car's still out there. The people just came in their ship and saved them and brought them back down. But I think the car, and they even said they were up there for weeks, and I'm like, yeah, okay. But
weeks?
That's what they said at the end of the movie. That's what they said. Right. Yeah. But because he was like, I've been eating space food for weeks. It's like,
oh man. Oh, he did say that. I didn't take him literally. But it might have been meant literally.
I don't know. I don't even care anymore. But
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then the trick to blowing up the satellite is just hitting the nitrous with the car. And it was funny to me that they made such a big...
so funny.
They made such a big to-do about it.
And they're done.
They made such a big deal. They made such a big fuss about how dangerous this was going to be. And all that happened is the windshield got a little busted. And they were perfectly fine. And it was like... And then these people came and saved them. And I did laugh at the Minions joke. I thought it was funny. I thought that was a really good part. But the...
I felt satisfied.
Okay. Now, one of the cooler aspects about the action scene, though, is the magnet truck. Like, it was really actually a cool concept. Like, it was... That's the stuff I like in Fast and the Furious. And I was okay with all that. I thought all that really worked. Sense. But you got this jackass again. And the writing for John Cena is a problem here. You're a rich prick and I'm going to kill you. It's like, I like John Cena in this movie again.
Rich pricks, yeah.
Like, come on, man. And I just hate that the jackass just started running the show. And then it's like John Cena's just like... And so, basically, when you break this down, Sammy, is here's what I'm getting at. Is when you break this all down and John Cena just, like, helps him out at the end and, does his thing and... None of the shit that happened leading up to this whole thing matters when you really think about it. It just, none of it matters anymore. And it just made me really question why I watched the entirety of the movie. And not that I thought that John Cena was going to be anything less than a good guy again by the end of the movie. But none of the rest of the movie matters anymore because you just wrote him off like that because, he just gets it and Mia's like, go, gets in the car and Mia's just...
And it's right. It had, because it would be one thing if like the whole franchise, Dom had been like lacking in, he can't fully trust his family, if he had always had doubts and stuff, if he had, talked about his long lost family or something. That's one thing because for them to be resolved in this movie, cool. But like this is introduced in this movie and then resolved. So it's like it doesn't matter. It's what you're exactly what you're saying. Like it does. So it doesn't
none
matter.
Of it really mattered.
None of that mattered.
It added up to nothing, and it just felt like. And I'm sure they'll use John Cena in the next movie. Don't get me wrong, but it's just
for sure.
When you think about it, it's like why he's still a shoehorn.
Oh my god! Do you think Hobbs is going to be in the next movie? Sorry to interrupt you, but do you think Hobbs is going to be in the next movie? Because that's wild. Has John Cena, The Rock, and Vin Diesel been on screen together?
I don't know, but that could be cool.
I want to see them on screen together though. I got excited.
Again, I already said I'll see the next one. It's fine. I'm just... This one was a waste. It was a waste of a lot of different... It was a waste of a lot of screen time, if you ask me, just to get John Cena into the franchise. That was the whole reason for this whole movie. We're going to put John Cena in this franchise. And
there's two more.
It's irritating.
There's two more.
And I'll watch them. I'll see them when they come out. It's fine. We'll wait a couple more years, but...
I'm not happy about it, but I will be there.
We'll see. They could suck. I mean... Who knows? I do want them to get James Wan to direct another one, please. But
please, that is my favorite one. Oh my god!
As much as that's not my favorite, it's my second favorite. He still injected this like freshness into it that this series
he really did. Yeah.
But all that said,
I feel like the president now set with like, because I feel like if they were to revert back to the way like the other movies treat women, it would just be like, why would you do that? We now know that you know how to do it properly or how to do it without bluntly offending all women. Why would you go back there? So I think James Wan, it can only get better. He can only, because I will say Furious 7 is not like it's my favorite, but it does still have like just full ass shots and everything. Like I want to vomit scenes. So, but we can only go up from here because again, the bar has been set. That me at least, I will be furious if they go back because I'm I know honestly,
you'll be furious.
But yeah, I'd be fast and furious writing letters, James Wan, to you, angry ones. Right up to your house, fast and furious.
Yeah.
In my 2017 Kia Forte, I'll threaten you.
Yeah, and like at the end there, Dom's like, once upon a time, somebody owed me a 10-second car. And I'm like, you're pulling that out now. And I like that. It was just like, it was kind of like, why are you wasting this on Jacob, though, on the same hand? But it made sense because he was like, I believe in second chances because of that, you know? So it's like, okay, I get where they were going. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It was just like, I don't know. It just felt like they were the whole movie was just about putting John Cena in the franchise, and like I just don't like that as like a precedence for making one of these. It's like I like John Cena. I had no problem with him being in here. It's just you could have like just made him somebody else. You know, I probably would have been more on board if he was like a cousin or something. That would have made more sense, and then just done something completely different. Like, but a brother is like a little too close.
Literally, you could change him to his cousin and nothing about the movie changes. All you have to do is change the word brother to cousin and nothing changes.
I think you could change the backstory too, because again, it's inconsistent with what happened in the first movie, but a little bit it kind of retcons that story. But either way, like I'm just like at the point where I'm like, you know, Dom and
but that
Mia,
says a lot because you know, like if you were to make like Mia Dom's cousin, that means something differently. Like she needs to be his sister.
Good point.
But like, what about what's his name? What's his freaking name? What's his name? John Cena's character.
Jacob.
I'm like Jacob. Thank you. Like, but why does Jacob need to be his brother?
By the way, you got Dom, Mia. Where did they get Jacob?
Jacob!
It doesn't even fit.
It's spelled like with a K
it's
too,
so weird.
Right?
It's like, why would you even?
That is not an original spelling. I want to say Jacob's like a Jewish Christian name. That is a odd, like monotheistic like Bible name.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like we go from Dominic to like Mia and Jacob. I can't.
I would have accepted Ezekiel over that or something. I mean, come on.
Literally,
just something a little more unique, at least. I mean, it didn't necessarily have to be the most Italian name in the world, but just something a little more unique, at least.
Something to fit. How did they not think
Zeke.
that like?
There you go.
Perfect.
Could have been great.
Yeah, would have been worked. But how were they not like? Yeah, Dominic, Mia, and Jacob all sound like the names the same people would name their children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. It's just it's irritating, but whatever. I mean, whatever. I'm trying to get over this one. It didn't like make me go see it, folks. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be plenty of people that are gonna go, ooh, action, Fast and Furious, and they're gonna love it. I'm sure. And I felt bad laughing so hard at so many moments when I was watching this because I feel like I pissed a lot of people off around me. But I don't care. It was too good. Like there was too many funny things in here, and just like I had to laugh. Like some of it was purposely funny, I'm sure, and some of it wasn't. But you know, I had that's the thing. Like I was entertained. You know what I mean? Like at the very least, I was entertained throughout, and like it was still funny and fun to watch. I guess for whatever reason, you know, I still had some fun with it, and I don't know. I don't love the movie. I'll get it because I'm a completionist, but I'm not really in love with this one. I think it's the second worst one next to Too Fast. I really don't enjoy it that much. So pretty forgettable.
I mean, I gotta say, I also, by the way, I like went to a mall theater in like a middle of nowhere place in New Mexico. So there wasn't that many people in there, but it was me and my mom, and then it was a father and like a younger son, and then like two teenage dudes behind me, and then there was like a guy and his girlfriend or a guy and a girl in there as well too, and it just made me laugh because I was like, my mom and I were like, without us, this male to female ratio is legit. Because I told her too, and I was like, you see what I mean by like the male gaze and who this movie is for, like just look around in this room. But I will say, like, this movie is, like, put into perspective, like this movie is for the father and the son in that room. Like if this movie was for anybody in that room, it was for that kid.
Yeah.
And on that level, it does its job.
Last thing,
other than that, I 1000% agree with you.
I just wanted to throw out the last moment I did like, though, the ending with the kid having to say grace. Like, I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
and then,
that was cute.
The Paul Walker
like
thing was that was all great. So
I thought that was beautiful.
They honored that very well.
That.
That was really good. So I wanted to throw out there. I had no problems with the way this movie ended. I like the ending. It was good. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
No, yeah, same. No, yeah, I mean, I don't have that many more thoughts. I just, again, this is definitely the least misogynistic and sexist a Fast and Furious movie has ever been. I expect the 10 and 11 to be even less. I want no sex trafficking in the other two, and then we're solid. That was like my one thing. I was like, remove that and make Charlize a little bit more grunge down. And like, guys, you're picking up what I'm putting down. So yeah. I didn't hate it, but it was also not the best. I say, like, it was saying that it was entertaining is like the nicest and most, I think, perfect way to actually say how I feel about it. Like, I was entertained.
I didn't hate it, but I really didn't like it. I mean, I want them to really start to get back to the like grit of like Fast 5, though. I think that like I thought that was like a really good balance of that type of action they can do and storytelling, and that's the way you go, I think, is Fast 5. Like, again. So totally. I want that balance again. But yeah, go ahead.
Nice. Oh no. That's all I got. You got anything else before we wrap it up?
Go see it. I mean, I just think there's a lot of like people that are going to dig it, and I don't want anybody to take my opinion personally. I mean, you'll probably, I don't know why you'd be watching the spoiler review if you haven't seen it, but if you are watching the spoiler review and you haven't seen it, I'm sure you'll notice the things that I've mentioned upon watching it, or upon rewatch next time. But my headphones are coming off me. They're just walking away. They're just walking away. Anyway, it's a lot of people are gonna dig it, and that's okay. Last thing, I'll apologize about my angry non-spoiler review. I was pissed about a lot of things, and I was in a bad mood in general.
It was trying to get home by midnight. All right. Yeah. If you ever try to get home by midnight and it's not going great, listen.
And I did the sugar-coated version. I cut some stuff out of that. I said some worse things, but like,
damn. Nice.
I gave you the sugar-coated version, but I was just really in a bad mood. But now I'm collecting my thoughts. I'm talking with Samee. That's always a good time, and so it's fine, guys. It's fine. I don't like it, but it's fine. Go ahead. Wrap it up.
That's all I got too. It was all right for me. But that is going to be it for this episode of Movie Night here in the Anorax Entertainment Podcast. You guys can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Anorax Official. And we also have a merch store. The link is right above me. It is merch.streamelements.com/Anorax. So if you feel inclined to do so, check that out. Dom, where can people find you? Thanks for being here, by the way. Also, this was fun.
All right. So Twitter at Dom_Martino_ and Instagram Dom_Martino_ official. Let's get the hell out of here.
I'm Samee Ramirez 14 on Instagram, Samee Ramirez on Twitter. Next week we're doing some Marvel stuff next week, so come on back for that. And we'll see you then. Yep. Huh?
What are we doing?
It's Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, is that next week?
Thor
Okay,
Ragnarok. Cool. I wasn't 100% sure, but I'm saying it's Thor Ragnarok.
Sure.
I think that's next week.
It's either going to be that or something else, folks.
I'm pretty sure 99% sure Thor Ragnarok coming to you next week. And then because week after that is Black Widow. Black Widow's first week of July, I want to say. So yes, I do think next week's Thor Ragnarok. Yes, we got 2 weeks of Marvel coming at you after this.
Sweet.
And with all being said, have a great night.